And we were just talking before we went live that this chapter in North Jersey, that area, it wasn't around for a while. It's a relatively new chapter. How long has it been?
I would say newish. I think in the YCP grand scheme of things, we're a couple years young. So, I mean, given you give or take, the chapters that have been here for quite some time, we're the younger ones on the block, so to speak. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's talk first and foremost a little bit about yourself and how you got drawn into the Young Catholic Professionals world.
So, yeah, the YCP seed was planted, years ago. So probably 2017. So I was here with my brother's out here in Frisco, and he had his first kid around that time. And so I spent a summer just helping babysit and help my brother out with him and his wife. And every night they would, go to bed, and I'm like, I'm a young adult. I want to find some community here in Dallas. So I went to a YCP Dallas event at St. Thomas Aquinas where they first started back around that time. And I got hooked instantly, and then been trying to plant the seed, and it's all God's timing, right, with these things. So was planting the seed within my diocese, within my parishes. It took about 5 or 6 years, and then with, COVID added to the mix, it took a little bit longer, but we finally have a chapter about 2.5 years in. So it's been a blessing. Yeah.
And from the start, when you were getting it going, I think that's kind of a bit of a big job to try to get people interested, understanding what YCP is, and then, trying to gather together. How long did the actual process from when you started talking to maybe people from the diocese until you actually had your first event? How long was it?
I would say, it's COVID years, right?
Oh, yeah,
I think COVID time is kind of a weird, jaded perspective, but a lot of us really playing the scenes took a couple years for us, I would say, because unlike you say a YCP Orlando or a YCP Denver, there's no major city, arguably, major city in New Jersey. So we cover the entire northern part of the state. So that's 3 dioceses, technically 4 with the Byzantine Eparchy. We have 4 dioceses under our chapter. So getting the bishops to approve, getting the board members all on board, getting a team from literally, I would say, like half the state. So it's like we have, leaders from various zip codes and dioceses. So getting all that together took some time. But the beauty of that is having the diversity and perspective. We have people from as far as the Jersey Shore up to Bergen County and Hudson County by New York. So we have a diverse team. So it took about, a couple years, but I'm happy that we have a nice machine rocking and rolling. Yeah.
Someone who's never been to Jersey or really much in the Northeast, to be honest, it's hard for me to picture how, when you talk about 4 dioceses and that's half of the state, I don't even know size-wise what that is, because I'm in Texas. We're in Texas, okay?
That's true. Yeah.
We can drive 800 miles and still be in Texas. Yeah. So were people coming, how far are people having to, do you try to focus events in certain areas? How connected is it?
I would say if you're thinking the Texas lens, right, because I have family out here, it's probably, the distance between Dallas and Fort Worth in terms of geographical space. Okay. In terms of people, since New Jersey is one of the most densely populated and diverse parts of the country, you're thinking, big, massive dioceses right outside of New York City. So super diverse, but having that perspective and having that lens to be able to see these different people from different walks of life, from super urban to super diverse to super traditional. We cover a wide range within Jersey. So being able to have that and cater to that and find a way to bring everyone together, a big part of my spiritual journey has been uniting people and building the bridge for the chapter as a director of evangelization. So I got my work cut out for me for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. A reminder to everyone that we're broadcasting live from the Young Catholic Professionals Conference here in Frisco. We'll be live for the next hour, and I'm talking to Matt, who's from YCP North Jersey. He's the director of evangelization out there. I'm curious, Matt, before YCP came to that area, what was the young adult Catholic culture like? Was it very vibrant? Was it maybe a little lacking? Obviously parishes often might have a locally here, a lot of the parishes may have a young adult ministry or other groups, but was that a thing? Was there a lot of young Catholics getting together?
Well, we're very blessed to be right smack in between both New York and Philadelphia.
Okay.
So these are 2 major cities, one of the most busiest cities in the East Coast, if not the country. So initially we'd have a lot of our members go to a lot of YCP New York events or YCP New Jersey events, but we almost neglected and forgot about those populations within the central Jersey area. And debatably people don't think Central Jersey exists. I believe it exists because I exist, right? So we had to cater to the people within the suburbs, within the state itself. It's been very fruitful to get those really passionate people that couldn't really go to a major city because they're too far, and really cater to those in the city of New Jersey, because there's been, I would say, a Garden State revival of the city of New Jersey, that they crave religious community, but they also crave consistency. They want that bridge between the different charisms, different vocations, different orders within the New Jersey Catholic community. So it's been great to be that bridge that brings everybody together within the state.
I can imagine. I know that me at the end of the workday would not always be inclined to drive far for an event and consistently, you know what I mean? Occasional thing.
Yeah,
Because I live pretty far north between Dallas and Fort Worth. And so sometimes on an average night, I'm like, I don't really want to drive to Dallas or drive to Fort Worth regularly to build a community. So it is important that it's there in the middle.
And also it shows the motivation and desire for community, especially we live in this, age where religion isn't a priority, faith isn't community really isn't a priority. So being able to be that community that brings everyone together, especially the nuns. I love how it's the nuns NONESs that YCP brings from any chapter, not just Jersey, to really cater and almost reach out to those Catholics that may have fallen away from the faith, those Christmas, Easter Catholics, or people that have left the faith for their own reasons. To be that conduit to bring them back into the church in the smallest of ways has been such a blessing, for sure. Yeah.
Have you always felt very strong and connected to your faith, or did you ever have any space in your youth or young adult years where you didn't feel like you had to take ownership of it?
I think growing up Filipino American, you have this beauty of tradition where the faith is entwined in culture. I can imagine the same here in Mexico or Texas with the Mexican kind of culture as well, the Hispanic culture. It's built into our culture. It's built into our country. So having that culturally for a while was a really great foundation. But now, being an older young adult where I need to take ownership of my faith, how do I do that? And I think I was craving community or consistent community for a very long time. And YCP with its, in 40 plus major cities across the country, that's the most consistent community I've been able to find. And now every time I come to conference, I get to meet, like-minded people from Portland, from Denver, from New Orleans, and now if I'm ever in these major cities, I can just hit up my YCP friends and hang out with them. So that's been also kind of a blessing too, to have community no matter where I go in the country, for sure.
I feel like any organization that has like a ministry aspect, as YCP does, there's a lot of you're reaching out, you're making little touching people, they're hearing about it, but it takes a while for that it to hit and for them to connect and get into it. And maybe they kind of like you had heard about it and took a while to fully get involved. So I'm curious if you have any stories, especially being director of evangelization, if there's any people you've just seen wow, that person just suddenly came alive while attending.
Well, it brings me back to the scriptures where it depends on the soil. Sometimes there's fertile soil, and sometimes there's soil with weeds, and sometimes no matter who you are in life, you may have different seasons of soil. So one thing that I've learned as my role in director of evangelization is to really feed into and cultivate relationships with the religious. So we have 2 sister chaplains and 2 priest chaplains for YCP New Jersey, and just getting to know our sisters. They've been kind of aunties and second moms to us as a community, and being able not to just always ask them for help, but also to see what they need and build relationships with them. And they've been 2 people that have been so consistent, even no matter where we're at in life, even on a personal level, we could go to these sisters, build community with them, lean on them, ask them for advice. So as a chapter leader that deals primarily with religious people, to see them in that light has been very beautiful so far. Yeah.
We just have a few minutes remaining with you, Matt, but let's talk about the conference itself. Obviously, officially aspects have not started yet, so you can't really speak about how has this experience been, but you've been involved with the national leadership. There's been some workshops going on this morning, is that right?
Sure. So we're really blessed to be national, and I'm a little biased because I'm one of the national chapter leaders, so a little biased here, but being able to sit with different chapter leaders from different cities and states, different roles, and kind of lean on each other and hear what's going on, what's working out for their chapters, what's not working out. And it's funny because we're kind of situated together in these big tables by role. So we all their directors of evangelization. So it's kind of half group session therapy, but also half group formation in terms of leaning on each other, what we need, and how we can learn from each other, because we're all trying to strive for the kingdom, strive to lead people closer to Christ. So having that community effort and bringing people together to learn from each other has been awesome. It's been a blessing, for sure.
So what are you most looking forward to with this particular conference? You've gone to a few times before, so you kind of have an idea of what to expect. The theme is really beautiful, Ascend with Hope, and having Blessed Giorgio Frassati as kind of the patron, another young adult who died quite young, 24, I believe. I read a biography about him years ago. I need to relook at that now that he's getting canonized, but he lived really with this kind of daily, we need to be looking at our future and our heaven and to have this hopefulness. So I don't know, any thoughts about the conference theme?
I would say hope doesn't disappoint. In one of the major precepts so far that Monsignor said earlier during this National Leadership Summit is that hope should lead to confidence in the Lord. And I never really tied hope and confidence together. You'd think of hope as a virtue and confidence as a very secular thing, but as someone who works in corporate America but also volunteers for YCP, tying hope and confidence within the lens of Christ has been very fruitful. And praise be to God, Pier Giorgio Fossati is going to be canonized, I believe, and that's going to be awesome. And having that verso lauto, going to the heights, striving for more. We want to do that with YCP. We want to do that as Catholics for the kingdom. And just the timing is just, impeccably perfect, given everything going on in the church this week as well. So, yeah.
And for anyone who is tuning in, who maybe is vaguely aware with what Young Catholic Professionals is, but, doesn't really understand what is the purpose of this conference, can you kind of give an overview of what's going to happen this weekend, to your knowledge?
I think just formation and community. We need people to be able to lean on each other no matter what walk of life, not just chapter leaders, but people attending the conference as well. So we meet in Dallas, but we have people from all over the country, every time zone within North America. Every city, every major city as well. So be able to lean on these people, get to learn from them, but also meet these great vendors as well. We see Heroic Man down the corner from us. EWTN is here as well. So be able to see the Catholic Church come alive in this very consistent and organized way, and also form us as young professionals. Like I work in corporate America, and be able to take the precepts from, say, YCP conference, learning a lot about St. Joseph the Worker, how I could apply that to my corporate 9-to-5 job, has made me a better Catholic and probably a better man overall, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for joining us. I really hope that it is a great experience again this year. And again, how many people from the Jersey area with you today?
We got about half a dozen, but we're riding strong. We're like a starting five in a basketball team.
You'll be the loudest when they
for sure.
For sure.
Definitely
You
that Jersey
represent.
loudness, for sure. Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Praise God.